In 2022, I had filed a case in the CCPD with respect to the inaccessibility of the Practo application for people with disabilities. And despite best efforts to reach out to them and persuade them, they were not becoming accessible. So something had to be done about it. So then we thought, using this as a template, let's curate a list of all the digital platforms which people have problems with. And initially the case took some time to sort of get taken up. But once it was taken up, they took suo motu cognizance of the issue as well, and now it's been ongoing against 200 different establishments which are inaccessible. I'm happy to say that about 40 to 50 platforms have now commissioned an audit and are actually working towards implementing the audit findings as well.
Hello and welcome to the India Autism Center podcast. We are at the Purple Fest Goa 2025 as the official podcast partner. Today, I have a dear friend with me here on this podcast, Rahul Bajaj. Rahul really needs no introduction. His journey has been well documented because of all the great work that he's done. He is a Rhodes Scholar. He's worked under Justice D.Y. Chandrachud. And now he is the co-founder of Mission Accessibility, and also runs a for-profit law firm called Zen Access Law Associates. Thank you so much for joining us on this podcast, Rahul.
Thank you, Nipun. It's always a pleasure to be in conversation with you.
Rahul, I'm not really going to go into your life story today because I know there are a lot of other podcasts that have featured it.
Yes.
So people can go into them. So I'll come straight to the point. Why did you really decide to start Mission Accessibility, and what is your mission behind Mission Accessibility?
So, after I went to the UK and realized the importance of a strong legal mandate in creating a culture of accessibility compliance, which I found in the UK, I wanted to replicate that in India. The other aspect was I had worked with Justice Chandrachud, as you mentioned, during which period, one of the things I had done is to help him in his role as the E-Committee chairperson, which has supervisory jurisdiction over all the courts across the country, their digital sort of interface, to work with him to help make all courts disabled friendly, the websites and apps of the courts. So then I felt that why should this not be done at a larger scale across sectors? So initially the focus was only on digital access when we started out. It was also realized by me, Amar and Turab, who were the three people who came together to form MA, that, if we joined hands and work together, there's a lot more that we may be able to do. So then we developed, advocacy tools for people with disabilities to reach out to service providers, which I'm happy to take you through as we move forward, and really achieved some degree of success in creating a push towards greater digital access. And then when we realized that the legal help that people with disabilities need transcend just digital access. It's across sectors, across issue areas. So therefore, then we sort of became almost a full service legal provider so far as people with disabilities are concerned.
Right. And you also mentioned that it was your time at Oxford that kind of inspired you to start Mission Accessibility because of the accessibility in the legal frameworks that you saw there.
Right.
Have court cases been a major part in terms of the journey of UK becoming more accessible?
Not to my knowledge. I don't think, unlike, for example, in the US, there's been like a good amount of litigation, and each year thousands of lawsuits on website accessibility are filed. In the UK, litigation is not that strong, but what is good about their system is the Equality Act 2010, which has a strong emphasis on reasonable accommodation, or what they call reasonable adjustment, as well as a positive duty on all providers or on all public sector entities, to take steps to make their offerings accessible to groups with certain protected characteristics, disability being one of them. So at the level of the rules and the law, I think they have a good framework. Judgments wise, not so much.
But when it comes to the law, I think India also today actually has a good framework in terms of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act 2016.
Right.
The problem is more in terms of implementation. Why do you think some countries find it easier to implement the disability laws compared to others?
It's around, what is the sort of culture that has developed, which is also influenced by, what is the, like how strong is the framework, in the sense that if there is non-compliance, what kind of steps can you take? And, the level of development in a country also, in a country like ours, which is this large, and where resources are only now beginning to increase in the last 15, 20, 25 years, as we've become more economically prosperous. You have to really engage in a concerted push to ensure that these issues are not removed from the table, or that they are put up on the table. So I think that's sort of what my understanding is of where we are. Otherwise, I think it's a function of, to answer your question, otherwise globally, of what the law says, what the courts say, what is the nature of the regulatory infrastructure, the resource position. Many factors are there.
Right. You mentioned an accessibility toolkit. Can you tell us more about what you meant by that?
Correct.
Which mission accessibility is working on?
Right. So this is what we call a five-step process that we've developed, where which was in response to multiple grievances that people were reporting around inaccessible digital offerings. And what that framework looks like is this: that in the first step, you write to a platform to bring to their attention the fact that it has issues accessibility wise, and you try to persuade them to do the needful to make it accessible. If that doesn't yield an outcome, then you write a reminder to them 7 to 10 days later, which is step two. Then step three is, if that too doesn't work, then you tag them on social media and try to put public pressure to ensure they take it seriously. If that too doesn't work, then as a step four, you send them a legal notice saying that, boss, this is not just something that you should be doing, but it's a legal requirement. And now, of course, we have much stronger judgments also on the point. You quote all of them. So we have made a template which people can use, saying that, okay, within 14 days, if you don't give us a positive response, we'll be forced to take legal action. And then as a step five, you go to the CCPD, the Chief Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities, and you file a complaint with them. What we have done on our website is to put up templates for all these five steps. So you only need to then look up the details of the concerned platform team, and make some modifications to suit your particular situation. But it makes it much easier for people to reach out.
Can you tell your website's name for our viewers who might want to go and check it out?
So it's missionaccessibility.org. On that website, if you go to the resources page, you will find this five-step process.
You recently also went to the CCPD with 100 plus cases of lack of digital accessibility in various websites, right? And a historical judgment came up where penalties were imposed, I think, for the first time.
Right.
Could you tell us a bit more about that particular case and why that's important for people with disabilities in India?
Yes. In 2022, I had filed a case in the CCPD with respect to the inaccessibility of the Practo application for people with disabilities. Practo is a platform which is used to book healthcare appointments with doctors. And despite best efforts to reach out to them and persuade them, they were not becoming accessible. So something had to be done about it. And this was the first time that the CCPD, in a very well reasoned judgment, sort of clearly stated that the law require digital platforms to be accessible. It's not just government websites or apps. And they said that if you have to do it within 6 to 9 months for Practo. So then we thought, using this as a template, let's curate a list of all the digital platforms which people have problems with. So then we posted a message, we sent out feelers in the various networks that we're a part of to get that information. And then we put together a list of about 70 initially, and then 25 more. So about 100 platforms that we put to this CCPD, and I requested them to take action against it. And initially the case took some time to sort of get taken up. But once it was taken up, they took suo motu cognizance of the issue as well, and now it's been ongoing against 200 different establishments which are inaccessible, and they have been all asked to get an audit done by an auditor certified by the International Association of Accessibility Professionals. And in February, in fact, 155 entities that did not appoint an auditor were handed down a fine. And in June, 95 of those that had still not complied were handed down a higher fine of 50,000 rupees each. So, and I'm happy to say that about 40 to 50 platforms have now commissioned an audit and are actually working towards implementing the audit findings as well.
More power to you on that. Yeah, congratulations.
Yes.
Uh, a lot of people who are watching this podcast might not actually know much more about the RPWD Act except for its name.
Right.
And obviously, we cannot go into a masterclass on the RPWD Act in a short podcast.
Right.
But instead, what I would request you to do is that could you talk about a few of the common issues for which people come to you, which get covered under violations of the RPWD Act, so that people would know that I have this right and the RPWD Act can protect me through a lawyer like you.
Right. If we go into the second chapter, which is rights and entitlements of the Act, that's really the key chapter. When it comes to what kinds of issues they come to us with. Now let's kind of, adopt sort of a chronological approach. Okay. So if you are a child with a disability, the kind of issues that come up is they are the children, it is the child has a disability and needs a caregiver to look after them. But the parent is posted in a far flung location and can't attend to the child's medical needs. So, what is the kind of step that we take in such a situation is the question. What the law says on this is that to the extent possible, caregivers should be posted close to the disabled ward. But this is not followed very often. So, this is one kind of situation that comes up that we have to try and get the caregivers of children with disabilities posted close to them. And the second step is in the educational domain. When it comes to, denial of inclusive education. So sometimes people say that they want to give their exams with a screen reader rather than with a scribe, and they should be allowed to do so. And that had to be secured through a court judgment and 2, 3 judgments now to say that you have to allow them when they make that request. Then when it comes to employment, there are a whole set of issues around. One obviously is transfer and posting, like trying to get preferential posting, which the law guarantees, not as a hard right, but as something which should ordinarily be done for disabled people because for them relocating is not that easy. Then after that, there are some cross-cutting issues. So yes, within employment, there's also issues connected with not getting screen reading software, not getting an enabling environment, and also issues around. So 2, 3 other sort of issues which come to mind. One, in the educational domain, we have done a huge number of cases of people excluded from pursuing the MBBS course. People with visual impairment, hearing impairment, multiple disabilities, and so on, locomotor as well. Then the other one is in the context of, within employment, there are issues around reservation, proper implementation of the framework on reservation, carry forward of vacancies, interchange of vacancies, and so on. And then there are some cross-cutting issues, such as this case which we spoke about on digital access, and strengthening the institutional framework. So some PILs around that kind of thing.
Right. I think that's a great overview that you've given. Since we are on the India Autism Center channel, and there might be a lot of parents of children with autism who might be watching this show. Can a child with autism be denied admission by a school based on their autism, or is the school legally mandated to have all the provisions required? And what are the legal protections that a parent has in this case?
The school is mandated to provide support to the child. They cannot deny admission on the basis of disability. Government funded or aided institutions, or even those that are recognized by the government, have to provide inclusive education. And if they do not do so, you can complain against it. Each district is supposed to have a district education officer to whom such a complaint can be given. And if that is not working out, you can always approach the state or chief commissioner for persons with disabilities.
Have you had any this kind of a case before?
Of children with autism being denied, not directly. We have been in touch with organizations that have told us that this happens.
This happens quite a bit actually. Yeah.
Yeah, that they push out the child on some or the other ground, saying that you won't be able to cope, etc. They never say anything in writing. Till now, legally, such a case we have not gotten, like in a particular case. It's a general thing that people say happens, but we're very keen to take up a case if such a thing happens.
Right. Rahul, I know I've taken a lot of your time and I know you have other commitments as well. So I'm going to ask you
Yes.
one final question that I've been
Yes.
asking
Yes.
everybody who comes on this podcast. We often attack the government, we have attacked the private sector, etc., to make India an equal opportunity country for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
But what can the average citizen of India do to make India an equal opportunity country?
So I would say number one is it's extremely important to uh, make sure that you are, just as you say that you should check your carbon footprint to make sure that you're not contributing to climate change, to exacerbating it. The same should be said for, your accessibility sort of footprint also. If you are putting up an image on social media, are you making sure it is accompanied by an image description, alt text? If you are putting up a podcast, are you making sure that it is accompanied by a transcript for the benefit of people who are hearing impaired? Similar to this applies to other content that you are creating. Then you go beyond that and then you say in your educational institution, are you sort of ensuring that you're engaging with peers with disabilities with the requisite empathy and dignity? Same goes for employment. If you are employing them, are you providing them an enabling environment while being mindful of their needs? And are you willing to learn? Are you willing to, let them tell you what they need rather than sort of deciding it for themselves, right? Rather than deciding it for yourself. So if you can do that, I think you'll uh, contribute to the solution rather than be part of the problem.
That's a powerful statement to end on. Thank you so much for joining us, Rahul.
Thank you, Nipun. And it's a great platform that the center has put together. I'm grateful to you for giving me this opportunity.